haciendo ahorita no está bien, pero sí.
In the 80s and early 90s, the streets of Hollywood were more likely to eat you alive than make you famous.
And Hollywood in those years, it was scummy.
I was in the middle of like hookers on Sunset. There's all kinds of weird shit in West Hollywood, you know.
There was some freaky, like nasty, grimy, sleazy shit popping off.
There's predators, all types of creepy motherfuckers running around up there.
It's so different than it was in like the early 90s. Everybody thought they were a gang member.
Warriors, come out and play.
It was like the Warriors, man, with fucking good weather.
Kids living on the streets of Hollywood had two choices: join a gang or join a graffiti crew.
Crazy ass, mad ass CBS crew.
Graffiti crews blew up all over LA County. Crews like UTI in the Valley,
UTI, Los Angeles.
K2S from the East Side, WCA from the West Side.
Minor.
But only one crew had a Hollywood presence: CBS. Can't be stopped.
We non-stop streets and rooftop trains to bus stop. Cash the best spots. We long TikTok can't stop, and we can't be stopped. Can't be stopped. Can't be stopped. Can't be stopped. We missed a lot, we lost a lot, you know, we've had a lot of close calls, changed, shot at.
I think we have a good backbone. My crew's like one of the oldest and most well-known crews in LA, and if not the graffiti world.
Is this like CBS or what? It's CBS.
So CBS is, to me, to everyone, is the holy grail of graffiti.
CBS is something else, is something greater.
I personally witnessed 2 or 3, 4 generations of CBS.
Forged by a larger-than-life leader, bonded by 3 letters, CBS would risk arrest and even death to make their mark on the streets of LA, and eventually the world.
Can't be stopped crew till the wheels fall off.
CBS started out as Can't Be Stopped crew. Started out in about 1984, I'd say like 83. The name came from an emotion or energy we had, and we just wanted to kind of take over.
Originally, CBS was to be 4 guys. It was Hex, Frost, Theory, and Demo.
It was really just gonna be us 4. That was our vision, you know. It's like, they got all these big crews, you know. We were looking at WCA and the mad numbers WCA had. It was just like, we don't want that kind of boom, you know. We really don't want to tag. We really don't want to. We just kind of want to, bomb.
The original 4 members met 2 new artists who would change the crew forever: Rob One and Skate.
CBS for me came about in a time about 1987. I was hanging out a lot with Skate One, and then hanging out still with Rob, you know, doing stuff.
Rob introduced me to Skate first, and they had a crew actually before, like when CBS was literally in its infancy. They had a crew called LA 2 and 2. It was just Rob One and Skate.
The relationship with him and his mom wasn't going too well, so he had to like not stay there as much. He wanted to live there, but he was kind of like a real, I guess, what you would call like a fuck-up kid.
A lot of times he was homeless. He had his issues, but he was always down for his homies, for the crew, always down.
Skate was sort of a loner, drifter type, right? He really wasn't a part of any particular clique.
He was kind of an introvert and kind of a nerdy kid and a little chubby. And he just seemed like, I don't know, just wanting to be down so bad, you know?
Skate hung out with gangs like the Lads, which stood for LA Death Squad, and the graffiti crew WCA.
So Skate originally wanted to be in WCA, but you know, he was a toy. Like back then, he had just started, so that wasn't possible. The fact that he was told he couldn't be in WCA probably got him a little pissed off. So it probably made him work a little harder.
In 1986, Hex invites Skate to join CBS.
I put him in the crew because I liked him. Not everyone agreed to it. But I love Skate. And if you met him, you know his energy and he's straight good guy, you know?
CBS was gonna be done. And the fact that they saw someone who was self-driven and motivated and said, you know what? Here, man, take the torch. And he took that torch and set a fucking inferno to the city.
These huge stories about Skate. I saw Skate fighting tonight, and I saw Skate, kicking it tonight. I saw Skate punking some cops tonight. That fool's huge. He had a baseball bat, and he had 10 guys with him.
He was a Viking mixed with Santa Claus, okay? He was a fucking warrior, but it was also fucking, when you were with them, it was Christmas time.
If I just think about LA, I mean, he's like one of the figures in my head. It's almost like a cartoon character. He was just so larger than life, and he just always had his look.
Dude, I felt like I met fucking Thor, you know? Dude, of course he had that skate uniform, backwards hat, fucking kind of stoner look, Vans, the cut-off shorts. I don't know how tall Skate was, but these fucking throw-ups are like fucking 10 feet tall, dude.
This big-ass white boy was painting on the wall in the squad. We was like, hey, man, you know where you at? He's like, yeah, I'm in an abandoned building, paint my name on the wall. And he's like, well, I'm Skate One from CBS crew. And I was like, yeah, what's that mean? He's like, can't be stopped.
Dude had a fucking wizard beard, a cane, big guy, bro, And I'm like, that's Skate. I was like, that's Skate. And he's walking towards me, and I'm shivering. I'm scared, in my boots. And I'm sitting there painting this little tiny piece, It's so funny. And he stands behind me, and he goes, it was funny how he did, because he's just so big to me. He seemed like a big tree, you know what I'm saying? And he just looked at me, and he stood over me, and he goes, your piece is small. And I'm shivering, looking back, and he goes, you must do it big to impress. And he reached his arms out with his cane, and then went in the water, and then started doing these huge throw-ups, beautiful CBS throw-ups, this perfect motion. I've never seen anybody do such perfect motion before. And he did these massive, as big as he could, bubbles right there, fillings, beautiful. And that was the time when I realized, in order to get the respect from somebody like him, who was this real legend, I gotta go big.
That chance meeting had a huge impact on Saber. He would go on to paint the largest illegal graffiti piece ever.
He used to scare the shit out of me. He was just a big, badass white boy I didn't mess with. Scared of him. All my homeboys were Mexican, actually. I didn't hang out with white kids. So I was even more afraid of him because I thought white kids were pretty nerdy. And Mexicans were badasses, and I wanted to be like them. And it's not that he did anything mean or nasty or dangerous. He just had that presence to him. He had a massive magnetic field around him.
Skate, what do you got to say? LA City Bomb Squad.
Skate had a plan. He wanted to dominate the LA graffiti scene.
I think from the jump, he had a vision. He wanted it to be everywhere. He just wanted it to be this massive, strong, artistic, beast.
Skate was older than us, and a couple years, and I think he was either already out of school or wasn't going to school. I don't know what it was. I just know that when we would be in school, at lunch, he would come up and hang out on the other side of the fence and slide us markers and, do whatever. So yeah, Skate that was Big Brother right there, man. That was all of our Big Brother.
They started recruiting kids around this very area, like Melrose and around Waddles Park, around Hollywood Boulevard, around Plummer Park.
He was more of the bomber, Skate was. So Skate needed bombers.
So a bomber is somebody that's willing to go out and hit, for example, a rooftop and put the 3 letters of the crew up. But it was a very important element to the crew to have guys that were willing to go out there and risk their necks and their freedom to put up the crew and get it known.
I got the boot from one of the schools I was at, and I got transferred over to Fairfax. Crook at the time was the president of CBS, and this was '88. Said he had seen my shit, said he had talked to Skate, said they were looking to get me in.
We had a meeting at Fairfax High, and that's when Link, Tren, Xer, a few other people, maybe Anger.
We were all, I think, kind of like, whoa, what the fuck, you know? I mean, at that time, we were looking up to a lot of other crews. CBS wasn't even on our radar for the most part.
I got the green light, and I was a go-ahead, but, you know, getting in, I had my boys that I grew up with, which at the time was like Axis and Anger and Bose. So for me to get another crew without them just pretty much wasn't gonna happen.
Ooh, look at that in.
Tren was recruited into CBS under the condition he could bring along his boys.
They agreed to have one big meeting, let everybody in at the same time, which was including Xer and Link, because they were looking to get in too.
Tren was like, yo, I'm getting down with CBS, and I was like, ah, damn. I was like, I want to get down with that shit too, you know? I was like kind of envious of him.
Got in the first meeting when Anger and Axis and Tren and Link and all them got in at the same time. Then everything changed after that.
Immediately when we joined the crew, like I started realizing, damn, this is bigger. It's bigger than 3 letters. It's bigger than writing your name on something. I have a family now.
And it was like Xer and Link and Skate and, you know, Rob and everyone just riding around. Like you couldn't go anywhere without running into them. And like they were just up all over the city and they were like tight and they loved each other and had each other's backs. So it was a real family unit.
At that time, all of them were crazy. Jesus.
You know what I'm saying? Xer, LA style can't be stopped.
It was Link and Xer, they were like B-Fry, so they were like inseparable. They were in trouble all the time.
That was something I always remembered, like, damn, man, these cats are down. Like, they just go balls out, you know? Middle of the day, I seen Skate doing top to bottom, can't be stopped, spelled out, you know? CBS, top to bottom.
Honestly, the guy who connected it all was Skate. Aaron was a good guy, and he had this energy about him that you just cannot deny.
It was more, I think, about Skate, too. Like, it was more about being, like, around him and, like, and he kind of just, like, led us all. And I don't think the other crews really had that, per se.
He's like, well, I'll take you to the spots. You just do the throw up. If anything happens, he's like, I'll throw myself on a fucking cop car to make sure that you get away.
This car pulls up, and we're thinking, like, it's some gang shit, so we're, like, ready to throw, and it's a bunch of fucking kids in a car with Skate. And we're like, what the fuck is this? And that's where we kind of dubbed it as the Children's Bomb Squad, because Skate was like, he was like a god to these kids.
I think Skate was really like a conduit to like just, yo, you know, we're all sort of from the same hood. We're all kind of this white boy ragtag, like different, you know, nationalities kind of crew. Well, we should be homies. And then we were.
We all got in one big meeting, and it worked out good. And from there, it just kind of exploded.
In 1989, CBS added 2 key members, Crasher
I'm out here to bomb. That's what I came out here for, to bomb.
and Mir.
Welcome to the CBS Comedy Hour. Hosted by Mirwan.
Mir wasn't scared to be Mir. I don't know how to say it.
Look into my eyes.
He was one of the first Los Angeles dudes that developed into their own signature style that you recognize a mile away. Wasn't New York, wasn't LA, it was him, that's Mir. And he still has that to this day. And he was a force, you know, just a wrecking force for Los Angeles.
Damn, what the hell?
It was a fertile land for a bunch of wild, wild kids that were coming of age, man. You know, we had alleyways, we had walls, we had dumpsters to practice our tags on. We had nice places to get into fights with people. We had stores to steal shit from.
Hey, calm down, dude.
You know, it was like a playground. It was like that fucking, what is it? That carnival land in Pinocchio.
CBS was a lifestyle. We all came from broken homes. We all didn't have a curfew. We all could do whatever the hell we wanted.
Graffiti gave street kids an identity. Putting your name on a billboard or a freeway overpass was a way to prove you existed.
There's a lot of kids that all they have is their graffiti, and that's a way for them to build self-esteem, you know, in these shitty places, dude, where it's all fucking dirt and buses and fucking ugly fucking city, and you see a fresh piece, that's the shit, you know?
If you're on the bus and you're going to school and you saw, like, over the weekend, a buddy of yours named, like, all up and down Pico Boulevard or Westwood Boulevard, damn! It was like having your own marquee.
You know, when you're a kid, you're not getting paid for this shit. You're just out there to do it to get respect from your peers or whatever, you know, or to be noticed, or, you know, because your parents didn't hug you enough.
You know, we were vandals, and that was the point. You know, we went to destroy and make sure that everybody knew we were there. Whether it was where you lived or where we lived, you were going to know we were there.
We were homeless guys sleeping on Mir's couch. We were smoking weed. We were shoplifting for food. We were tagging all night. We were drinking all day. We were just the true hardcore dirt bags of Los Angeles, the nastiest crew around, and that's the truth.
Racking means acquiring things without cash or a credit card.
It was something that we were doing every day. We were racking paint, we were racking markers, and we're bombing everywhere we're going. We're racking beer, we're racking clothes, you know what I mean? That was our day-to-day life.
We didn't have much money, so jacking paint was a big ordeal of it.
I remember one time, Skate filling up a cart.
He rolled just big shopping cart full of paint.
I mean, he was putting six-pack after six-packs in his cart.
Either that or just Skate would just gangbang and just roll right out of Standard Branch with a whole shopping cart full.
Those guys were pirates. I mean, they really were.
We thought we was cool as shit. Like, we'd have like four, like, yeah, with a sweater around. Yeah, I got 4 cans, what'd you get? Oh, I got 3 cans. Oh, I got 5 cans. You see Skate, what the fuck? He's got a shopping cart full of 50 cans. Just 6-pack, 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 and then take a teddy bear, throw it on top, and just push it right out the store like this.
He kind of motioned to the cashier. Not quite a nod, but like, it's going down, and walked out with it.
Everyone's like, man, I ain't stopping him, you stop him.
We broke the window on Hollywood Boulevard and just started throwing cases in the back of my truck. Just tons of cases of paint. I filled up the whole back of my Ranger with this shit, drove off. First thing I did was take about 10, 15 cases of this paint, mixed it all up, and gave it to Skate for fucking giving me the blessing of stealing that paint.
But we would always be together, like no cars, no money, go rack some beer, go tagging, but we would be like always together.
Back in the day, the spot to kick it was the mall. And the place to be in Hollywood was the Beverly Center.
All I can remember just like Beverly Center is like we play massive games of like hide and seek and just terrorize that place, shoplift the shit out of it, stall every escalator so everybody would fall down.
What, Skate? Nah, G, the Kingpin was here, dude. Skateboard. Beverly Center Kingpin.
There was an arcade up in the Beverly Center called Starkey's. And there was no cell phones back then, so you could call the phones at the Beverly Center. So, you know, you could call and, like, see who's hanging out.
Like, we didn't give a fuck. We'd break down walls. We'd fucking throw shopping carts in the street.
We'd be chilling in Beverly Center. All of a sudden, you see this fucking shopping cart fly over the fucking, like, 8th floor parking structure, like, crashing into the fucking, you know, street on La Cienega. Just, you know, just wild, stupid shit.
Hey, let's ask information where Skate is.
Oh, he was here earlier, actually. And I think he went with that kid, Dale and Arthur, man. They left somewhere. They went to go vandalize.
All right, just go fuck yourself, dude.
All right.
We would stay at the Beverly Center until they kicked us out, and then we would go to Taco Bell and hang out there until they kicked us out, and then it was off to Chevron on Melrose and Fairfax, and that was pretty much the 3 locations where we were at all times.
We'd be so fucking drunk and stoned and whatever and broke. So to get back to Mid-City, we would jump on the back of the buses and ride the backs the whole way down Wilshire, from fucking Westwood to Crenshaw. Like, that's a long-ass way on the back of a bus, you know?
There's about a 2-inch lip where you could put your feet, and you'd have your hands in the grill, the cooling system of the bus, and you would catch air. I remember getting bucked. We're lucky nobody's dead.
Of course, we were knuckleheads at the time, so you had to be. We were 16, 17, 18, you know, growing up.
Skate's decisions were rarely questioned, except when he started recruiting kids from Beverly Hills.
They weren't really, you know, recruiting kids from Beverly Hills High School to be in CBS back in the day. I remember Anger even being a little sketchy, like when Skate was just putting me and Mike in Plus, and Anger didn't like us a lot because he thought we were maybe soft or something because we were like Beverly Hills kids.
There was these dudes, Mike and Met and Plus from Beverly Hills. They were getting down. I was like, what? Beverly Hills fools? Fuck that shit.
CBS is like Fairfax Hollywood crew. Everyone was terrified of them. Back in those days, it wasn't necessarily about having the dopest pieces. It was like all out, just destroying the city. And when I did pieces, they were usually illegal on a rooftop somewhere or in an alley where if you got busted, you were going to prison.
As the crew grew, each member filled a unique role.
Crews were rough back then, you know. People got, you know, stabbed, shot, you know, all this stuff. And you know, you had to have enforcers. Every crew had one, and Anger was one. And Anger's reputation preceded himself.
He became like the Muscle. He became the Luca Brasi of the crew. If you don't know who that is, like, you didn't see The Godfather, you suck.
I'd crossed out some people in art class. I dissed their tags. And I went to school the next day, and my boy Zink from CBS, he was a senior. He's like, man, you fucked up. Those dudes you crossed out, that's the football team, man. They're gonna fuck your ass up. I seen Anger in the corner. I didn't even know he was gonna be there that day. I was like, damn, Anger's here. I forgot that he was gonna pick me up from school, and we were gonna go racking to the west side. And he was hanging there, and he had his Scandals rag out, wearing the full denim. He had the hair back in the day, and all looking scary. I walked up to him, and I was like, yo, man, those football players told me they were gonna jump me and fuck me up. He was like, those dudes right there? I was like, yeah, and he walked up on all of them, 30 of them, big-ass dudes. And he was like, yo, you guys were gonna jump my little homie right here? And they were like, nah, Anger, nah. They all knew who he was. They were like, nah, man, we weren't gonna fuck with him.
My fucking dumbass walks in here by myself, through the other side, over there. And of course, I'm rocking an NSA hat. And I just see this motherfucker running up on me with long-ass hair. And I got socked. I got fucking socked. I just remember falling down and my hat flew off, and I get up and it was fucking Anger from CBS.
I've always heard of Anger being pretty loked out. I just heard some more stories today about how crazy he is. You know, I mean, obviously he's got some issues. He writes Anger.
The streets of LA, and the temptation to join can be overwhelming. From protection and street cred to power and belonging, gangs were a constant temptation.
At one point, before we got into CBS, it was maybe even going to go another
Dude, it
route.
really
Could have
almost
gone
went
like
that
a bad direction where we were lined up with the wrong kind of crowd.
People were getting shot and killed. I remember us like throwing up CBS signs, and some of the crew members would like start hanging out with gangbangers. And, you know, obviously I'm like, you know, white boy, 5'6", like I'm not gonna fucking go get jumped into a gang.
I had a choice when I first got in CBS. I was showing up to meetings with lowriders and my homeboys from my neighborhood, you know, thinking it was cool and looking dope, and Skate was like, all right, you know, you wanna be a gangster, step out in the middle of the field with me, we're gonna throw down. And I was like, I don't wanna throw down with you. He's like, but you wanna be a gangster, right? I'm like, yeah, but I don't wanna throw down with you, you're my brother. The dude smacks me to the floor, kicks me around a few times, picks me up, dusts me off, says, you ready for some more? I'm like, no. Beats me up a little harder, and the whole crew's laughing, everyone's sitting there watching, and gets it into my head. He's like, dude, you're an artist, you're a painter, you're a dope artist, you're a dope painter, quit fucking with this shit. And yeah, man, so that saved my life.
It's a tough thing. I mean, LA is no joke. It's definitely, you have to be street savvy, you have to be smart.
This is a ghetto sport, and if you think you know, you don't, because you will get taken. You'll get hurt.
Rival graffiti crews were another danger. Risk was shot by a member of a rival crew.
I got shot. So I find out who it is, and I'm going nuts. I'm trying to kill him. He's trying to kill me.
Skate stepped in and squashed the beef.
It wasn't because he was my boy, because me and Skate had beef at that time. You know, we had beef because he went over something I did on Sunset and Fairfax, and we actually fought in the middle of the street at Sunset and Fairfax. So we didn't get along at the time. So I was like, why did he squash my beef? And he was like, both of you guys are too important to LA, and I can't have you guys getting killed. He was like, so, you know, I squashed the beef.
We were on the streets and we had confrontations with people. I can go into a million of them stories about Aaron, but also, you know, he was like, dude, we gotta, man, this has gotta change, dude. We gotta stop tripping on each other. This has gotta end, bro.
And of course, somebody had beef with somebody and this and that, but Skate was always right in the middle trying to mediate, really trying to solve the problems and, you know, get on with it. Just do the art, do the art. And that was, I think, what he saw as his role. He was the master mediator, the big daddy.
If we need to go to their hood, the Beverly Hills, the Simi Valley, fuck it!
1992, the LA riots caused by the Rodney King verdict. The whole city was in flames.
Light it on fire!
The looting spread into Hollywood, putting Skate and CBS in a new role, guardians of the neighborhood.
Skate and maybe a couple of the other guys were actually protecting a shop or two, like some of our friends that had stores in the area, because they didn't want anything to happen.
Like this whole area is basically owned by CBS. They are like the police that we don't have. You could probably get a CBS dude to come out and help you before the cops will show up out here.
Skate just really knew everybody, and like a lot of people just really respected him.
He knew the shop owners. He knew the ladies, the old ladies that be walking around the neighborhood. He knew the young kids. He wasn't just a thug graffiti writer. He put together a crew of people so that we all developed into something.
By the early 90s, CBS had all of Hollywood on lockdown. CBS was everywhere.
CBS was already the entire Fairfax district, Beverly Center, La Brea, Highland and Hollywood. That whole area was kind of ran by the crew.
Let me introduce you to Martel Avenue. We are walking down fucking Old Russia Street and shit. We're busting out with the tags on the poles. Who's up? Fuck that, I don't know who that is.
Like, you didn't walk through our neighborhood, you didn't come paint our rooftops, you didn't come do anything in our neighborhood. And if we saw you, you had to scrap or you had to bail.
We just really kill, you know, different neighborhoods, like just stalk it out and just bomb like all the spots. We go to different areas. Fairfax was our hood and we just really killed it like on a day-to-day basis.
This is an area that we used to terrorize a lot. That's how we first started like really congregating up on Melrose. I would say every fucking rooftop we had throw-ups on. We used to chill there, we used to smoke weed. Maybe we'd do some acid, trip out.
Crossing freeways, risking our lives to hit those middle lanes.
hitting highway overpasses, bombing trains, running from dogs at the yards. I mean, that shit was not gonna stop us, dude. We're just constantly active.
Man, writing on everything, buses, fucking walls, man, freeways, just taking trips on buses for hours all day just to, you know, come back and act like we regular, you know what I'm saying? Pick up the little kids, like I said, take them home, say what's up to moms, just to get ready to go out on a writing mission that night, you know what I'm saying? Kind of fly shit like that.
Our crew was so big at that time, and everybody was so active. It wasn't like just hang-arounds. Like, everybody in the crew was busting their ass.
You know, it was almost impossible to stop its growth. CBS was so desirable at that day and age that everyone wanted to be from CBS.
They stood in line to be a part of it, and we had to reject people and put them through rigorous tests like I was, hazing, to be a part of it. And if you didn't fit the bill, you didn't fit the bill.
You had to bring photos of your pieces. You had to bring photos of your rooftops. You had to have proof. You couldn't just come back, oh yeah, I've been killing it. That shit didn't work in our crew. Like, you had to have proof.
It was like my goal to get into CBS at that point. Skate was like, all right, I'm gonna give you 5 things you gotta fucking hit up. I was like, I'm gonna get up on the Hard Rock car, on the roof of the Hard Rock. And I got really lucky. I found, like, in the second level parking structure, I found an air conditioning duct that I could crawl through right onto the roof. And I crawled through the air conditioning and I got up there and I hit up all the way down the side of the car. I think it was like they were pissed. Like, I think it was on the news or something. It was like vandalism. And everyone was watching down from below. It was kind of hot.
Graffiti began appearing in underground magazines like Can Control, books like Subway Art, and films like Style Wars. Suddenly, graffiti writers were underground legends.
Graffiti at that time was treated so like superstar status in a weird way in LA. Like the skaters and the graph writers, you know, were able to get into like all the clubs and like get all the drink tickets and get all the special tables and all the bullshit, like celebrity status for real, no reason at all, you know, other than being hoodlums.
I mean, it was crazy. Nothing was taboo. Like, you could do anything, and we did, and it was nuts.
Yeah, it seemed like a lot of ground was broken back then, and we were at the forefront of it, you know, getting into magazine covers, getting into videos, getting into music videos, doing album covers, doing storefronts and store interior, you know, taking it way beyond graffiti art.
Hollywood became a collision of cultures. Punk rock and hip-hop exploded, and spots like Beat Non-Stop and the Hip Hop Shop brought the worlds of graffiti and music together.
The Hip Hop Shop was right up the street on Melrose. I think it was like early 90s, it really started cracking. And Hex decided he wanted to open up a spot on Melrose.
I made it the epicenter of hip hop for the entire city of Los Angeles, and it pretty much went international. And I give a lot of love and a lot of respect to CBS crew for being right there in the trenches as we were getting this work done, bro.
Next thing I know, it became kind of like a clubhouse. All types of people started hanging out there. I ended up going up there pretty much every day.
We would go and do the hip hop shop like every Sunday, and then everybody would meet there and get some food on Melrose and kick it, and all, you know, we would all throw all of the black books around, and people would do pieces, and we'd draw and do throw-ups and everything.
Skate's leadership and his ability to bring people together was a catalyst that helped shape future generations of musicians, artists, and pop culture.
I was out with Skate painting behind the Hip Hop Shop, and he knew Shot from UTI, and we're just painting in the back alley. And Shot came up and he's like, "Yo, Aaron, you know anybody that plays guitar, man?" And he's like, "Actually, my boy right here, Eris, man, he plays guitar." He hooked me up with Shot right then, and we just formed LA Downset.
Out of CBS came Downset, Drunk with Power, Shapeshifters. The Pain. Mickey Avalon, Crazy Town, DJ Rob One.
This is Rob One, and we're at the world's famous hip hop shop here on Melrose. Yeah, we're doing a segment for the show called Hip Hop Classics.
Rob One was a graffiti writer, a DJ and a force in the early LA hip-hop scene.
I used to just go over his house all the time, and there was no living room. It was just all crates of records. And he was like the first dude that like really kind of inspired me. He was doing 4-track mixes on a cassette tape. He used to just kick it hard, and I used to watch that and be like, wow, man, like he had every record ever and stuff, you know? It was fun as shit, man. I feel sorry for these kids now. I mean, we had breaking, graffiti, rapping, like DJing, all that shit was like, you know, it was popping, it was fun. It was dangerous, but fun.
Not only were we diverse, though, the thing is you had guys all at the top of their game. So when we show up and go in, it was like, wow, now the party's here. We had the DJ who was hosting the party and the freshest artists that were there painting the walls where everybody was partying at. And it's just the whole thing we did. You know, we showed up and collaborated all together and created this giant city bomb squad that everybody knows.
You rock star, you. You rock star.
Pioneering companies like Gypsy and Thieves, Tribal, and Con Art took graffiti and blended it with fashion in a way no one had ever done before.
I guess around 1984 is when I started doing graph. A couple of years later, I kind of saw the concept of putting graph on clothing. And Skate was like, well, dude, you got to meet some of my cats from the CBS crew. Mir was probably one of the first cats to get down. And then it was Express and Axis and Trend. And so Skate kind of opened up the floodgates. It was, you know, CBS became the backbone to Con Art.
Every hip-hop dude wanted the cool clothes, the real clothes, so they were wearing it. The clothing was the catalyst to me of this is way bigger than our subculture. This is worldwide.
Skate was constantly connecting the dots, putting people together to make them better.
All of these different crowds, man, gave Skate such respect. You had the nerds, you had the skaters, you had the graph writers, you had the thugs. All of them gave him respect. He was able to make it all intertwined because he was who he was, you know what I mean? He was the knot that kept it all together, you know?
He would be there, reaching out to writers, loving them. He was working with a lot of homeless kids that were linked up on Hollywood Boulevard. He would work in the East Side, and he was just all over, man, on the buses. You see this big Magilla gorilla, overgrown Viking, man, with a heart the size of, man, a city hall.
Skate laid down the rules for the crew, and everyone was expected to follow the rules.
We had rules, specific rules about what side of the street to walk on, where to be at night, and how many people were supposed to be with us, and he would stay up and wait for us to show up back home. You know, if we were out until 4 or 5 in the morning, he would wait, he wouldn't go to bed until we showed up.
I used to take pictures, come all the way down here and take pictures of the alleyways, and I read about Skate in the newspaper, and when he got a presentation from the city of Los Angeles for a beautification project, and that's how I first learned about Skate, which is crazy. So I sought Skate out.
Painted his ass off, more than anybody in the crew always. He was painting every single day. And he taught everybody something, even Mir. He would teach Mir shit, and you know, whoa, he'd teach Mir something, you know, but you know, Mir had to be taught.
I think a lot of us lost our fathers, and we are that generation. And so, you know, that's where the gangs come from. That's where the violence and the anger and the aggression and the graffiti. Graffiti came out of that, you know, not having a dad there at nighttime when you come in at 2 in the morning to whoop your ass.
When some members started ignoring the rules, Skate threatened to leave CBS.
So I was at the meeting at Waddles Park where Skate came up. He was there, we were all there, and he said he was going to leave the crew. And we're all sitting there like, what do you mean, man? Like, what are you talking about? And he didn't like some of the things that were going on with certain people in the crew.
It was hard enough for him to get to a point to where he had a crew and a family with us. And then we started running wild and jeopardizing everything that he had built, and he couldn't control it anymore.
I trotted down the hill, I caught up to him, and I said, what do you mean you can't leave the crew? Like, you're the crew. Like, what do you mean? And he just looked at me, and he just said something like, oh, I don't know, or whatever. And I gave him a hug, and that was it. Like, that was the last time I saw him.
Whoa, what?
Nobody wanted to do walls anymore. Everybody, was just a hot thing to do a freight, because who knows, your freight might make it to New York, it might make it somewhere else, somebody else in a different state is gonna see your piece. So it was like, you know, moving art, so everybody wanted to do it.
It wasn't huge, like there wasn't a lot of people painting trains back then. It was like just a handful.
One of the first times I'd ever seen like a train car with graffiti on it was this gigantic train car that said Cotton Belt Slayers. And I had no idea what it meant, but it said Cotton Belt Slayers and it said can't be stopped. It was this giant thing that I saw from, you know, 500 yards away or something. And I just sat there next to the train, you know, next to the road. And I was just like, that I want to do that. Like, that's what I want to do.
It started getting more and more popular, and by like the early 90s, we were going out like at least a couple times a week, you know, and doing freights pretty much like more than we were doing walls.
It was a serious thing. I mean, not only you had to watch out for cops, you had to watch out for gangsters, you had to watch out for bombs. You're there to do what you need to do and get out safely.
Just when you walk in the yard, it has a specific smell. It's like you smell that old rotting wood and you don't know what you're stepping on. There's like dead animals in the yard. It's just like a whole nother thing, you know? Cutting through fences, and it had a whole different feel to it. You know, to me, that felt like graffiti. Hit the yard, and he's talking to some workers, and then so then we roll in, and it was still too hot to paint, you know. So you did a quick like crash outline.
We were supposed to go that night with him to the train yard.
And that night the yard was real thick. Like there's I think there's 2 running lines or 3 running lines, and then there's like 10 or 15 just tracks full. And usually there's like a couple of extra tracks where, you know, you're safe from the running lines.
You just had to be really careful of, like, you know, you have the fast trains going through there, like, you know, express trains.
Because that yard has the Metrolink and Amtrak running through it. And they don't slow down. They're doing like 75 miles an hour.
We did see the lights.
3 huge lights. Everyone saw it. We knew it was coming.
We were all yards away from each other, meaning me, Barry, and Skate.
Skate's like, when you get your camera, I'm gonna take a picture of this real quick. And we kind of got into a little argument, like, dude, I don't want to. Let's just wait. He's like, no, let me get a picture. So I'm not gonna tell him no. So he grabs my camera and he's taking a couple pictures. And then the train, I hear the train honking.
We weren't moving fast. We weren't, not as fast as that train was moving.
And then all of a sudden the train just goes by.
We just kind of huddled up against one of the trains and then heard the braking.
And then it stopped, like probably the end of the train, and when it finally stopped was probably like, maybe like 200 feet from where we were standing.
And Barry was able to turn around and say, I don't see Skate anymore.
"23-year-old Aaron Anderson was killed about 10:30 last night when he was hit by a northbound Amtrak train. Anderson and 4 juveniles were reportedly tagging a freight car in the Southern Pacific yard in Van Nuys. Anderson was apparently crossing the tracks when struck by the passenger train. Authorities say taggers are taking greater risks in their graffitiing, climbing freeway overpass signs, and increasingly tagging railroad cars.
There have been tags found in a lot of places where it's real dangerous to go, up on the back of freeway signs, the tops of buildings. The taggers have a tendency to call that going to the heavens. And the more tags that they can get in dangerous places, obviously, the more fame they're going to get.
Through the years, taggers have felt they could roam the city and graffiti at will. Last night, they found out the deadly and final consequences of tagging. Joe McMahon, Channel 7 Eyewitness News, Hollywood.
All right, happiness and joy for,
so we can show the world that we know what's up.
We had to identify somebody. They walked me out to the tracks to identify something, someone. And at that point, it was just like, how do you talk to Skate's mom?
When I hung up the phone, my mom asked, what was that about? And I had told her because she had known Skate for the same amount of time that I had, because he'd been a part of my life from day one in my home. And I told her that Aaron got hit by a train. And she stood up off the couch and she asked me, well, what are you gonna do now? And I walked out of the house and all I could think about is, what the fuck are we gonna do now? Well, what do we do now?
I came home about 2 in the morning and I was listening to a radio station just to help me go to sleep. And they were talking about a graffiti artist who got killed. And they were talking about Aaron.
His last words to us was, go, go, go. I mean, he totally, he must have seen the advance of the train a lot faster than we've seen the advance of the train.
I got upstairs to a phone call from Anger of him crying. And Anger basically, after a few minutes, being able to tell me what happened. So it was odd because Skate had called me and left me a few messages to let me know he was just, I don't know, going to paint, going to do a crash piece and saying what's up. Or I don't know if it was a farewell or what it was, but fuck.
At that point in time, it wasn't really a good time in his life. But, he might have been struggling. I don't know. There's different theories you can think about it, He always wanted to go out like a king, always said he would. Did he do it? Who knows? It's everybody's theory. I think it's a possibility. I think he might have got fed up and a little tired of everything. Other than that, boy was bad. Who the fuck takes on a train? That's gangster. I made 60 of these, and if you had one of these, you were an OG. As a piece of shirt he died in, I made about 60 of those. I gave them to everybody that was close to him, so they could have a piece of the shirt that Skate was wearing when he died.
Next one! Oh, yeah. What up, world? This is Rob One. I'm just taking a minute out to reminisce about my brother. There is no other. Goes by the name of Skate One. Word. Can't be stopped.
Skate was a big, important character for LA graffiti history. I mean, there's a few kingpins within LA. There's a few. And, Skate is definitely in that list of the main people who started, graffiti in LA.
I think his life experience did take a huge toll on him. And I think his identity was totally graffiti. And perhaps being displaced was more than he could bear.
I remember him saying at one time, just if it wasn't for graffiti, I wouldn't be nothing. That was it. That was his focus. That was his focus in life. And he brought that passion to bear in his work, and he obviously inspired a lot of people, not just from CBS crew.
It wasn't a good time. It wasn't the most righteous end for him. It was a life cut short. It's fucked up. It's an ugly story.
Didn't have it easy. People used to really punk him and mistreat him. That forging is what made Skate the beast that he was. And had he not been forged into that man he became, I don't think that CBS would have the strength and the love and the cohesiveness that they have as a crew. And I never had a chance to really tell the homie. I should have given you a chance, but I'm proud of what he did.
To honor Skate's memory, the crew went on an all-out bombing spree.
I can't remember the number exactly of how many memorial walls went up for him, but I remember some very heavy hitters at the time going out and doing walls for him. No one asked them to. They just went and did it on their own accord.
I mean, graffiti-wise, we did. You know, we were stronger than ever, almost just to prove a point. You know, like for skate. You know, like we're gonna do the most damage we've ever done for skate. You know.
I'll say this. I'd like to say this on camera. I really would. I've never wrote R.I.P. next to his name. Never once. Back then, now, and I won't. Because he's still here with us. He's still here with us.
One memorial on the side of a Hollywood art gallery would open an important door for the crew.
We were over at Painting 01 Gallery. It was a little bit after Skate passed away, and it was the rest in peace wall that we were doing for him.
It was massive. I mean, we did this character of Skate's face. It was, dude, it was giant.
You know, I kind of flipped some lids. They weren't used to seeing graffiti done like that.
Suddenly, gallery owners wanted graffiti inside for sale.
That's where Mir started doing some of his shows, and he started showing with different people.
It was the beginning of the new era of what graffiti, not only in the streets, but we were taking it to the galleries and we were defending it, and it was getting out there in magazines and videos and out to the world.
Keep on running to your work all the time. Yeah?
It started the beginning of who we are now.
Me and one. Yeah.
So it's a really beautiful time, you know, to get that mural going on and kind of have that ascension from the streets into the fine art gallery and kind of help, I guess, in some ways further the art form.
I think that spawned a little bit of, you know, the trend that was to come, which was people getting, wanting to now make money at doing their art, you know what I mean? And it wasn't only about running out and doing it and giving, you know, giving the public a free show.
Let's get serious for a second, because we all got some painting to do and other things to get.
Yes, we do.
Part of, so.
Anger stepped up to try and fill the void left by Skate's passing.
When Skate passed away, Anger stepped in and he became leader of the crew. You know, he had these big shoes to fill and he filled them, and he was out there pushing the crew.
Someone had to. Someone had to step up, because if not, we just would have all just, I think the whole thing would have just really fallen apart.
Creatively, you had Mir, Access, Express, all these dudes out there doing these huge, incredible murals, you know, so the crew was steamrolling.
He did take the reins and started adding new members and started like wanting to keep it the way it was. And
you had people really out there crushing again, crushing the yards, Melrose back on point, people recruiting again, and quality recruiting. Some of our best members came from, that are still in the crew today, came from that period of like 95 to 99.
You do a graffiti tour, you know?
A dominant creative force for the crew was Skate's friend, Rob One.
Killing shit. Yeah, that's Big Anger One right here.
One thing that Rob definitely passed on to me was his passion. I mean, when he spoke about the crew, when he told stories about the crew, and you could feel it, like the way he felt.
Rob was, like I say, very inspirational to a lot of us because of he was this big guy in the industry and in the hip-hop community.
What the fuck am I doing here?
He didn't carry himself like that. He had so much love for the graffiti game that when you were with him, that's what he focused on.
What was so glamorous about CBS, it like encapsulated everything from punk rock to hip-hop to like graffiti to like LA hardcore street mentality.
CBS with Rob, Mac, man, that got CBS respect like all across the board.
DJ Rob One. That's when LA was at its peak. And Rob One was, he was a king.
I'm still here.
Rob wasn't gonna talk about that. He was more an action guy. He's gonna do it more than he's gonna talk about it. He brought some people around that, again, are people that are still here to this day.
I just wanted to be a part of it so bad. And same with Skate, you know, he had the same ambition and drive, and I think like the forefathers of CBS saw that in Skate, and like Rob saw that in me, and he basically took me under his wing, a toy from the West Side, trying to get down with the Hollywood's elite.
Rob One out of retirement type of shit. Thanks to my man Blake. Hey, who's that vandal?
He was taking out the younger crop of guys and getting them in the freight movement. He was continuing on what Skate had started.
By 1995, Rob One's creative energy helped bring important new members into the crew. Bleak, Knick Knack,
all right!
Haste, Plek, Quake, SL, Murs, Crayola, Atlas, and Cisco joined the crew.
I remember Cisco, dude, I used to drive by, you see a wall full of pieces, you know, multicolored wild style pieces, and then you would see a Cisco. The size of 6 of those pieces, dude, no matter how hard you tried to look at what everybody else did, all you would see is a Cisco.
New members like Crayola would push graffiti into fine art.
There's something really free about saying, I'm gonna paint the stuff that's in my head. There's a storyline behind everything I do, and I don't need the rules of somebody telling me what I'm gonna paint right now.
I'm at Anger's house and I'm watching this guy named Crayola paint these characters and you know, watching Axis teach Crayola and seeing all these things that in hindsight are still this fantasy for me that I was so happy that I was a part of.
Atlas bombed LA hard. He became one of LAPD's most wanted.
Atlas was a phenomenon in LA with intricate letters, and once he got arrested, he made a transition into doing something different than his lettering, which became Catless.
Here along the freeways, mostly on the east side of Los Angeles, these cat faces are staring back at motorists.
He kind of reinvented a take from an artist in the 80s who was painting manhole covers in the LA River and making them look like cat heads, and he took that and just destroyed all LA with cat faces.
You might have seen the tags all over downtown Los Angeles. They're on buildings and on freeways. They're the faces of cats.
Word up, what's up? Rob One, CBS Crew, LA representing.
Rob One's status in the music business would expand the crew outside LA to San Francisco.
And he always wanted the crew to grow, and he wanted to get out of LA and become this just worldwide thing.
97 Bum Rush Tour, LA to San Fran.
Yeah, I gotta give a shout to Can't Be Stopped. Yeah, I gotta give a
You know, Rob traveled all over the place. He did promotions for like rappers. He did his DJ thing. He traveled, he'd meet people.
He goes to San Francisco because he's DJing. He meets these dudes from Lords. They're killing it with graffiti. He's like, let's trade some members.
One time, the Shapeshifters rap group, which was all made up of members of CBS, came up to the Bay, and I do hip-hop music as well. So Rob One hooked us all up, and I started kicking it with them.
The Mad Ass California Bomb Squad. Read it and weep.
And they started coming to the Bay and painting.
They had a very similar vibe to us at the time and a similar approach to things. And eventually we just ended up merging a lot of our guys into theirs, and they ended up with you know, a lot of members in CBS as well.
Always in front of the piece, even though we're done, he needs to step.
We just got united under that umbrella of doing art, doing graph and you know, getting into music and shit together, and that's it's the beauty of it, man.
Sister crews, I'd call it, or family.
Brother crews.
Brother crews. All right, let's do that one again.
CBS was a family, but even brothers fight.
Hey, fuck you. Get in the shit the fuck out of here.
I think me and Anger started having some major falling out after Skate died, and it seemed like tension was building up between other heads in the crew.
Disagreements with members of the crew drove Mir from CBS.
Rob got into some shit with Mir, and I was there, and Mir was just kind of like at the end of his tenure with CBS.
I left the crew in a place where I was super frustrated with it. Me and Anger, you know, we butted heads a lot.
Mir's departure was not the only difficulty ahead for the crew. Lightning was about to strike twice.
You live another day. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, it's a little something. Peep the method.
One day, Rob comes home. I was living with him, and he comes home and he thinks he has a hernia. He was working at Beat Nonstop, putting out records with 2Mex, and we were, you know, going to Hawaii, we were going to Mexico, we were painting, we were traveling the world with Shapeshifters performing. He goes in to get a checkup like the next day. He's diagnosed with cancer.
Yeah. What's up, DJ Rob One in your face? That's what I'm talking about, feeling kind of sick.
He did open up to me, and it was a sad thing, man, because I experienced it with him, dude. I was there with him every day. I'd wake up with him, call it a night, see him before I fucking knock out, dude. And then just, hear all the shit he would have to go through.
It was like the most evil thing that could happen to someone that was really just a force, a positive force.
We did a Shapeshifters and Tumex show on Halloween in Pomona at the Fox Theater. Circus was dressed up like a cop with a pig nose, and like the security guards were like the Nation of Islam, and they weren't with that shit. And like some conflict broke out where like they were like talking shit to Rob, and Rob was talking shit to them.
He looked at us like, I know we're gonna get jumped right now, so I'm gonna say whatever the fuck I wanna say. And that was just Rob.
Fucking beat him down for a second, and motherfuckers started rioting, kids started breaking windows and all this shit, and it fucked up his leg.
I think he just finally started giving up when it was Skate's anniversary. His mother had just passed, and then he was just like, all at the same time, he finally just stopped fighting.
He knew it was his time to go, but he didn't feel no kind of way other than he just hoped everybody held it down. He was really in good spirits. I don't know if a lot of people know that, but it was a good thing to see. He wasn't all down and fucking out.
Deja vu, you know what I mean? We're losing another one again because Skate and Rob were like, that was 2 and 2, you know what I mean? That was like the guys who were always repping CBS and who showed us how to rep the crew, you know what I mean? And now this dude was the second dude that, was about to, leave us.
Mir and Rob never had a chance to settle their differences.
When someone passes away, if you haven't made it right, you're never gonna see them again. And so you kind of like, you live your life with this thoughts of like, I wish I could have said this. So you end up living with some weight, in your heart and your chest.
The impact Skate and Rob had on CBS will live on forever.
We are at the gravesite of my man, Rob One, also known as Ager, from the CBS crew. Some people know him as Robert Corey. And he was my friend. And he was one of the guys I started doing this with from the very beginning. He was there, him and my buddy Skate.
Think about it all the time. I wish he was here. I do. I miss Rob a great deal. He was a good friend of mine, and I wish he was here to see what people have done and where they've taken the crew, because I do think he would be proud, and I think absolutely, I think he'd be proud.
You said, Master kick a clean cut for me. So it went R-O-B, the O-N-E.
Members of the crew would take the lessons learned from Skate and Rob to become successful, celebrated gallery artists.
Did you catch the CBS tag?
Oh yeah, like Mir's doing great. Like Mir shows all the time. His paintings are fantastic.
To see it bleed into the fine art world, that was part of the quest, part of the whole intention on some of us more artistically motivated.
That Crayola is killing it. They're selling their shows out.
It was just this magical thing. Graffiti was the voice of the dissatisfied soul, and it would be heard by, millions of people finally.
I've got to work with and curate projects with the Getty Research Institute, with the El Segundo Museum of Art. I have a piece in the permanent collection at the Getty Research Institute, but I would have never imagined that'd be the case when I was 17, 18, 19 years old. Like, no one cared about it.
Graffiti was giving me basically all my long-term friendships And it's given me my life. It's given me a career. It's given me everything I have to this day is through Graph. So I owe that to the crew.
Oh yeah, the one and only.
My buddy Cisco went on from being one of the most prolific, like crazy dudes on the street. He's a professor now. And I think he's written a book about this, and he talks about this stuff, gives lectures. I mean, it's incredible.
CBS is about guys with like minds coming together to make this phenomenon happen. And that doesn't involve money. That doesn't involve egos. That doesn't involve power relationships. It just involves coming together to get the job done.
No one cares. CBS. Whoa, you thought so?
In 2014, CBS invites Mir back into the crew for a 30th anniversary show.
It comes with just a spirit for you, a want for you to be back part of CBS.
I think that some of the work that myself, which eventually brought artists that are as good as Express to the crew and Fever, with the help of Axis and a few other people, proved to not only LA, but to the entire country that we put graffiti in general and the West Coast on the map.
I mean,
I think there was a time when like you and me could have used our brothers to fucking help us. I'm cool, dude. I appreciate the way you talk and all.
The reunion lasted only a few short weeks. The show was canceled.
I think their relationship is soured to the point where it's just, I mean, it is what it is. It's kind of like there were good times, there are bad times, and now there are no times, I guess. And I think that's where it is.
Despite the troubled times, heartbreak, and conflict, CBS can't be stopped.
It wasn't about our graffiti and how dope Mir was, or how up I was, or how fresh Rob was a DJ. It was about our mindset in all of those capacities. In every single one, I'll whoop your ass, I'll burn you on the wall, and I can out-rap you or out-DJ you on the spot.
Look at that T-Kids page, dude. That's so funny.
Bleak would take the term "can't be stopped" to a new level.
Like, my ambition was going and, like, killing the world. Fuck LA. I mean, LA is a buff.
He would push CBS outside of California to New York and the rest of the world.
What, at the top of it?
So I went to New Jersey, I went to New York, and I met people like Nace and Chip and my boys from Mayhem.
CBS is like we were just talking about how many guys worldwide are down with the crew. Because it's like it represented something when we were kids, and it still represents that now, just like a brand that lasts forever.
Yeah, man. CBS Brazil, please, welcome. We have a lot of walls.
Olá a todos, CBS Crew, Japan.
I'm Slow Kwan from Austin, Texas. I represent CBS Crew.
Publishers started to jump on that bandwagon. I'm lucky I got in early enough to do this. Lo and behold, the opening page here is indeed a classic period of time with Big Five and Anger and Skate and Blossom, because that was the time.
What I had learned in the early 90s, being that we had a lot of characters in the crew. We also had a leader like Skate kind of running the crew. And after he passed away, we wanted to, or I know I wanted to make it persevere. I wanted to carry it on. I didn't want it to just stop. You know, I liked the feeling of having meetings, of having a purpose and a direction for graffiti artists to go.
When I go out and I hit up those 3 letters, I hit up CBS, I have the weight of all those people that came before me and all the other people that are in the crew right now writing that, because I'm writing CBS and I have to represent that level of artistry.
We get a lot of love because we understand the integrity that those 3 letters carry CBS, can't be stopped.
Loyalty that we had to each other, you know, the common understanding of what I have is also yours inside of our crew. We were always on the outside fighting our way into everything or fighting our way out of something. And it was, we can only rely on us. And I definitely bring the loyalty aspect into everything that I do. I don't have anyone to count on but these same people for all these years.
What Skate was very popular for was giving everybody a chance. You know what I mean? It was about letting people in the crew. We didn't understand it that much then, you know what I mean? But it's definitely something that we carry on. A lot of people came and went throughout the years. There's been homies that have been gone for 10 years and they've been back. Skate had this, you know, aura about him that you wanted to be around him. And Nace was the same. Nace was like the real deal.
He was one of our, you know, new dudes that, you know, we knew we could trust leaving, you know, this family in his hands on that side of the country.
It felt like they wanted to be part of a bigger than them type of movement.
We met people like Sace and Nex who passed on as well through John because they knew everybody wanted to be around him because his energy was so vibrant. The last thing he did was he painted day trains and never returned. Killed by a drunk driver coming home from painting trains in broad daylight.
We celebrate him all the time. We celebrate him, we celebrate Rob, we celebrate Skate. We have more of a Hollywood story. It's worldwide. It's grown into a bigger and bigger brand. We've taken it to Brazil, we've taken it to France, Japan, you know, Texas, New York, New Jersey, Minnesota, North Carolina, Chicago, you know, Bay Area, back to LA.
It's become a monster in a sense because it's everywhere. It's global now.
Bitch, look at that fucking Queen Mary. That fucking thing, she's gonna fit through here. Rip each side of the wall down and squeeze us between it. No way.
So basically, that was a transition, and
say that again.
We need to save this because one day we'll be famous.
Want me to tell the truth right here, or do you want me to just make up something? Because okay, really, it's like just a big ass truck. You're just rolling on the top of it like Teen Wolf, you know, catching spots.
Wow. That's like Teen Wolf.
City Bomb Squad, California Bomb Squad, Young Can't Be Stopped. It's all the same.
This one looks like Bob, right? Holy shit. Oh, that's fucking god.
You want to hear about the graffiti? I got you in the graffiti.
CBS.
Let's go.